Hey, what's up, Trekkies? So, I spent most of this morning trying to figure out what the hell to talk about. And I've been over Memory Alpha. I've been playing a lot of Star Trek Online. I say a lot, but it's only been about 2 hours today. I've been playing it. I've had a busy weekend, but there's nothing new on Star Trek Online. I could talk about that patrol escort, but really it's just a new way of it looking. There's not really much different. So I think I'm just going to do like a stream of consciousness, and I may bounce around between canon and not canon and online and movies and stuff. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just going to keep talking, see what goes on. Because, there's a guy in the fleet, and I had to get off right then because he was giving someone a crap ton of in-game currency so they could, upgrade all their gear, and I'm just like, this isn't a good thing to do. Because I understand that I've done it. I've done it in WoW. I've done it in my first game, Dragon Realms. I've done it in, not technically my first game, Dragon Realms. The first game was called Federation, and had nothing to do with Star Trek. And then, I've done it in pretty much all my games. I even did it in this one, but I only did it for Aaron. Because I knew that he would do it. But they're giving him a bunch of money so they can go and buy gear. And I'm like, no. This person apparently has never played an MMO before. They don't know how to, work basic keyboard functions. They need to struggle in the game just a little bit. They're only level 19 of 50. They need to struggle a little bit and figure things out. And I'm just like, you don't want people to struggle, but you kind of need to. Sort of like Mama Bird needs to kick the little bird out of the nest. You can't just... Anyways. And, but before all that happened, I was admiring his ship because everybody does. And wow, they do it with the transmogs. And I was just looking at him and I was like, hey, oh right, you have a sovereign class. That thing has such an itty bitty deflector dish. But then again, unlike my ship, he doesn't have to, channel a giant phaser beam out of it for a long time. So it doesn't need to be that big. He's got a cruiser. I have a science vessel. But yeah, I wish the Vesta, to an extent, was canon, ship. But we have Voyager as a science vessel, and technically each of them has had each of the style of vessels. An escort, a science vessel, and a cruiser have had their limelight. Because you have Enterprise D, which is Galaxy class, which in Star Trek Online is a cruiser. You've got the Defiant, which is an escort, small and packs a lot of power. And then Voyager's a science vessel, where it has it does weird stuff. Technically this deflector dish on the Sovereign is not that small. If you remember in First Contact, they were trying to detach the damn thing because the Borg were turning it into an interplexing beacon to go talk to the other Borg in the Delta Quadrant, and they were like, no, that's not going to happen. It's small, but the Enterprise D is huge. I just got really nothing, so I'm just barfing up information, barfing up knowledge. Sorry for any weird background noise. There's a lot of... I keep the window open because it's getting that time of year. I was thinking, maybe I could talk about Red Squad, and then I realized that there's one episode about Red Squad, and there's not any complex reasonings behind Red Squad. They're just arrogant punk kids. Because I thought, I was trying to relate to, the idea of family and crew, because one of the teams, the team that we played against on Saturday for my football team, it was small and tiny, and tiny in comparison to ours. They only have 32 people on their roster. We have 55, and we had to cut back a couple people. We had to cut back 10 because there were 73 that were generally coming to practices, but then we can only fit 55 anyways. But they only have 33, and 25 of them came down because it was an hour and a half drive for them. And they came down. It wasn't even a league game for them, and I don't know. It just felt their team was a little bit more of a family than mine, and maybe I just don't know it on my team because I'm so new or something. Definitely starting to feel it more. I'm definitely coming out of my shell. Oh, that's more vlog stuff. But it's I'm starting to get the idea of the crew. Sort of like Wesley, how when he first came on the bridge, he was like, oh my god. And then he finally got to sit down at the helm And he was like in his gray sweater with like the little rainbow cross, and we're like, woo, and then became acting ensign. He was still like, woo, it's all great. And then eventually he started getting a part of the crew because he'd been around them so much. But that's just, you know, a relationship with any buddy. Do I feel like Wesley at my age? No, I'm so much cuter. Anyways, sorry if I'm futzing with my chest. This shirt is old and it's big and baggy on me, you know, so it's like, dangly. Actually, oddly enough, at my game, I actually talked with someone about Star Trek. I don't remember what brought it up with him, but he was saying he was much more of a Next Generation sort of person, and I was like, that's cool. You know, that's what my mom got me started with. She, you know, I was watching, you know, Encounter at Farpoint, and whenever she'd watch it, because it wasn't, you know, terrible. I think Mom avoided me on the Naked Now, the second episode, because it was sort of sexy. So, but that was like 6, 7 years old when that happened. So later, I got into Next Generation about third season. That's when my brain started getting idea. As Aaron and I rewatched through the entire thing, I was remembering like season 2. I remember Tasha dying live. I remember various little episodes that were like season 1, season 2, but I really didn't start watching it on my own volition per se until after Best of Both Worlds, which was season 2 to season 3. But I was like, yeah. But by the time I was actually starting to like split away from Mom, not like relationship wise, but just like becoming my own Trekkie. It's like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, Deep Space Nine, and then Voyager came about. And while Mom likes Voyager because female captain drinks coffee, I drink coffee, Mom drinks coffee, Dad drinks coffee, we have the communal coffee cup. It's just like, we don't know whose coffee cup that is unless it's, you know, got our name on it or something. We just pick it up and drink it. We all drink coffee. I have coffee every morning. That my channel was originally called My Caffeinated Life. My Tumblr's called My Caffeinated Life. You know. Anyways, rambling. That's what today's about. Whee! But Voyager's where I kind of picked it up on my own because it was a science vessel. The nacelles folded in. That's when I had a friend that was really into it outside of, you know, the family. I could go to school and talk about it with someone. We were excited about Star Trek Generations and Star Trek First Contact and the Borg and all that jazz. Sometimes I miss Chad. But other times I realized that there was only so far we were going to get to friends. Just because the generalized moral differences. I mean, I understand that's not a meaningfulness, but yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I was telling Willie that I was like, I'm more into Voyager. I mean, it just was, nah. I like Voyager. You know, people are always like, Kirk versus Picard. I'm like, Janeway. All the way. Like, Picard will like try to negotiate. Cisco seemed to have like his own weird little problems. PTSD from losing his wife. Kind of avoidant of Picard. And then he gets thrust upon this spiritual enlightenment journey. Not a bad thing, I'm just saying, you know. And then he has to like, then he's always dealt as like the second, because for so long he was a commander, not a captain. So he didn't really get promoted. He just got, you know, reassigned to Deep Space Nine. He was commander, and then they finally gave him the Defiant, and he became captain. Which, for a while, people were like, oh, well, you can only be captain by getting a ship. Not necessarily, but sure. Anyways, and then that's when, you know, Worf came over and yada yada. And I got really into Deep Space Nine, especially when they started doing that Dominion War. But, like I said, it was really Voyager. I can rewatch any episode of Voyager, and I know exactly what's going on. When I rewatched it with Aaron, I was like, yes, this is my series. We even watched Enterprise, but by that point, I was already like on the high of Voyager, and then Enterprise came about, and I was like, yay, we have a Star Trek series. But then everyone kept bashing it and trashing it, and they still do, and I just like, you know, you can say you don't like it, but you don't need to trash it. I'm not a fan of the original series. It's older than me. I have that new age ego. It says I gotta have some semblance of decent graphics or sound effects. Because you look at Next Generation, even Encounter at Farpoint looks way better than anything from... But it's understandable. The technology of videography, cinematography, whatever, just skyrocketed. But anyways, yeah. That's part of the reason I don't really get in. I mean, the interplay between the crew, I like in the movies. When you've got, 2 through 6. The motion picture was I was telling, when Aaron and I watched it, I was like, they spent so much of the movie going to warp. It's so long. And then finally, but then you got, the crew itself, I just don't really like watching the original series, because it's, to me it looks cheesy. And it is. It was kind of meant to be. It was supposed to be at the time. But I don't trash it. So I don't know why they have to trash Enterprise. I definitely understood at the beginning episode when it kind of screwed with the timeline, because when humans first ran across the Klingons, they went to war for a little while because Klingons. And then this one in Enterprise they didn't. The Klingon crash landed on Earth, and the Enterprise had to return him, and there wasn't a war. And that's when we first ran across the Klingons. So it kind of screwed with the timeline, but anyways, doesn't matter. It's a fictional timeline. It's not a real timeline. As long as everything keeps going through and making sense. But anyways, I will chat with you guys next week. Hopefully something will happen. Something, I don't know. Maybe I'll talk about Star Trek Online. I'm not sure. I haven't seen any rumblings of anything new. It's the anniversary of Legacy of Romulus. I got that email, but I haven't gotten anything otherwise. I know season 10, there's supposed to be an expansion coming out, like Legacy of Romulus, sometime later this year, and they say it's supposed to be bigger. I have rumors, I've seen the rumors that it's supposed to be involved in the Delta Quadrant, and we're going to have Kazon and the Talaxians and the Dians, and, we'll expand more on what Voyager opened, which is, really exciting for me. Really exciting! Because, like I said, Voyager's my thing. Anyways, I will chat with y'all later. Catch you next week on Trek Tuesday. Bye!